All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started with Coach Jen Hale. You can lead us off, followed by Todd Graffinini, and then we'll open it up to the floor.
Thanks, Will. Hi, Coach. The script is kind of flipped. The Pelicans obviously gone from an offensive first team who's now concentrating on defense, and it's kind of the opposite for the Pacers. What do you see differently out of them in terms of offensive emphasis, and what type of challenge does that present for the Pelicans tonight?
Well, they play at a great pace. And when we talk pace, we're talking fast break stuff, and they do run, but it's more the pace of which they run their offense. Their cuts are hard. They come to the ball really hard. Everything is done at full speed. They've got a great backcourt with Brogdon and Oladipo, and then a great hub to play around in Domas Sabonis, who's an outstanding player, both inside and out. And so they're running the offense through him and through a great point guard in Brogdon. They're just playing really, really well. You know, a lot of people are pointing, oh, they got swept last year. They got swept without Sabonis. You know, I mean, that guy's a hell of a player, and we can see now what he can do. He can score, rebound, pass, defend. I mean, he's just a really, really solid guy, and they're playing great basketball right now.
For JJ tonight, anything in particular you're doing differently with him to get him going? Or is that something, as he says, it'll just come to him when it comes and he's not worried about it?
Yeah, that's nice of him to say, but we got to give him a little help. I got to give him a little help. You know, so we'll try to get a little bit better over the next few games, and hopefully just get a little bit better every game in terms of getting him more involved, screening for him a little more and a little bit better. Because once he can play out of that and get in movement, it will get going for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, you mentioned Sabonis, and of course he's a double-double guy, but they really encourage him to step out and take a three ever so often. How does that present problems to you as far as matchups going and who's going to defend him out there?
Yeah, you know what, he and Turner are both going to shoot threes. All five guys are going to shoot threes. We've seen that with several teams this year. Obviously, Toronto did it the other night. You know, they put five guys out there who can shoot threes. We saw it with Oklahoma City. You know, so you saw it for part of the game with San Antonio. I mean, it's a trend in the NBA to have five shooters out there and to have shooting fives. So we're used to it, and we'll cover it the way we've been covering it. And I'm sure he'll get a couple up there, and, you know, we'll have to deal with it. That's not really my main concern. I mean, this is a team that does shoot a lot of threes and shoots them well, but they thrive in the paint. I mean, you know, they're averaging 55 points a game in the paint. If they're going to get 55 in the paint, quite honestly, it'll be very, very, very hard for us to win if they're going to get 55 in the paint.
Against Toronto, your point guards, both Lonzo and Eric, did not turn the ball over. 14 assists, no turnovers. How key is that as far as keeping things under control and running the offense the way you want it to?
Yeah, I mean, that was huge in that game. I mean, you're talking a very close game, a one-possession type game. And so taking care of the ball is huge. We can live with the 13 turnovers, and especially with those guards playing the way they did, that was key to us.
What's up, Coach? This is Will from The Athletic. We've asked you a lot about your defensive scheme and how you're kind of daring teams to hit jumpers against you, but you guys are also giving up a lot of those corner threes. Is that a concern at all? And if so, how do you limit, in particular, the corner threes?
Well, I think the main way for us to limit corner threes, again, is not to let the ball down deep in the paint. The defense gets sucked in and the ball keeps, you know, the ball gets kicked out there. That's the number one thing for us in limiting the corner threes. It goes right back to keeping the ball out of the paint. We're not daring people to hit threes. I mean, you know, we're not standing there asking them to hit threes. We're trying to get out and contest. I mean, teams are shooting 34% from three against us. I think that has something to do with our closeouts and everything else. That's like 8th in the league, at least going into last night's game. So we're not daring anybody to shoot threes. We're trying to get out there. It's just a matter of priorities, you know, and look, I said it early in the year. All you've got to do is look at last year, the last 2 years. The team who's given up the most threes by a good margin has been the best defensive team in the league in Milwaukee. So this last year, the second best defensive team in the league was Toronto. They gave up the 4th or 5th most threes in the league. Like, nobody's trying to give up threes, but for us, we've got to try to keep the ball out of the paint. That's got to be the first priority. That does not mean we're letting people shoot threes. We don't care if they shoot threes. No, it's just what the priority is for us.
Hey, Stan, it's Andrew from ESPN. You touched on this a little bit on Jen's question, but how does Sabonis's playmaking and running the offense through him, does that change what you guys do at all? And what kind of problems does that pose when he's averaging, 7, 8 assists a game?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you make mistakes and give up cuts, he can make all the passes. He's a great screener, a great roller. I mean, this guy's a hell of a player and a great guy to play through. So the challenges are there on everything. I mean, you're going to have to defend handoffs. Steven and Jackson are going to have to be there to help on the handoff. Then they're going to come right back to the pick and roll. You got to get to the other side. Then we've got to pull in on him on the roll. The pace of their offense, their guards are really good. And Sabonis being as good as, this is a really good offensive team and presents a myriad of challenges. We will have to be right on it. Even sometimes when we're great, it'll be tough to stop them, and they'll make you pay for basically all of your mistakes.
What's up, Coach? This is Will again. I think it was after the game you mentioned this, that you liked the minutes you got from Jackson off the bench. Just after seeing the film, what exactly did you like that he brought in? What does he got to do to kind of keep that up?
Well, I thought his defensive effort was really, really good. I thought it was probably the best pick and roll defense he had played all year. I thought he was up to stop the ball. We really liked that. And then he was on the boards, which you guys know has not been a great strength of his, particularly on the defensive board. But, he got 4 on each board the other night. And I thought he was really battling to block people out and to, keep people off the glass instead of just turning and jumping. So I thought he made a conscious effort to do some things better the other night and played well.
Great. Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right.